Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. Okay, or Monday if you're a newsletter subscriber and watching this early. All right, so for today, I am going to be going over my August Destashify makes. I have two things I'll be talking you through, and then the fabrics, my fabric haul that I grabbed, which is all right here. So the things that I'll be making up in September. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started and get into that. Okay, so like I mentioned, I actually grabbed 3 fabrics from Destashify in August, or in July, to make up in August. One of which was a stretch twill that kind of had like, it was in browns and it kind of had a floral on it with some animal print. It's a really cool fabric. I've put that to the side for now. That may pop up into my fall wardrobe. I'm not sure yet because I have some ideas of how I might want to use it. I haven't fully decided, but I did go ahead and use the other 2 fabrics and made up the things that I had mentioned that I was going to try out for them. So let's start with the t-shirt first. I'm very excited about this, and yeah, we'll talk about this. And these are both itch to stitch patterns, actually. So that's something that's, I meant to be trying new pattern companies with this Destashify fabrics, but there's some itch to stitch patterns that I wasn't able to test that I really wanted to make up. And I love itch to stitch patterns. They just fit me really well with very little adjustments. Anyway, and I just hadn't had a chance to make up her stuff. So this first one here, this is the Zakapane? I'm probably saying that wrong. Knit top, and I love this. So this pattern comes with a long sleeve or a short sleeve. It has this beautiful knotted front here. That's really fun to sew. We'll talk about that in a second. Other than that, it's meant for knits. I obviously use this Drapier rayon spandex, which I got from Destashify. I actually have quite a bit of this left, which is exciting because this orange color is a good color for me. So I'll have that in my stash to use for some other project where I need a rayon spandex knit. I don't use rayon spandex or viscose spandex knits as much as I use cotton spandex knits, but there are definitely a time and a place for them where I really want something with drape, and so that will happily sit in my stash until needed. This front piece here, I think this shirt is so cool. This was kind of my test, my wearable muslin, if you will, to see if I liked it on my bust line. I was a little worried that the extra attention there was going to draw too much attention to my bust line, which I'm never wanting to do. I wanted to keep things in proportion. But okay, so I've got a merino jersey for my fall capsule that I was holding on to as to be possibly this top as well. But I just wanted to try it out in this fabric first to see if I actually like the silhouette on me. I love it. I'll definitely, in fact, I didn't even put the pattern away. I ironed it flat. It had, been folded up with the fabric. So it's ready to be cut out in the merino jersey now. I love this. I think that it is kind of sexy without being like overly so. And yeah, it does draw some attention to my cleavage a little bit, but nothing like, it's not vulgar. Obviously this is a drapier fabric than what the merino is going to be. So the merino will fit a little bit differently just because it's not going to have the weight of that rayon, but I think this is so good. And it's taken a t-shirt and elevated it. So if you are in the everyday style world, if you buy their capsules or have taken any of their classes, you know a term that they use a lot is their beyond basic tops. So beyond basic knit or beyond basic top, which is just something simple that goes up a notch. So it makes it a little easier to dress things up or down. I would call this a beyond basic t-shirt. So even though it is just a knit t-shirt, this little detail here in the front makes it something special. And I'm really excited not only to have this in my wardrobe, but to make that second one as well. And it went together really easily. This really isn't nearly as hard as you would think. Her instructions, Canessa's instructions are always like spot on. They're very easy to follow. And I feel like I always, I have to follow her instructions, not all the time, but quite frequently, just because she does she challenges me a little bit. Her patterns aren't hard. Like I said, her instructions are wonderful, but there's always something a little different, a little twist, get it? Where I do have to look at the instructions and make sure I'm doing it correctly and doing things in the order she suggests, because it's always spot on. And so they're just a little bit more fun to sew. Yeah, because it keeps me more engaged. I mean, sometimes I like the sews where I can just sit down and not really have to think about it. Like the my dress on Friday, my Grace dress, which was just a simple bodice with tiers. That was a mindless sew, kind of. It's a gorgeous fabric. But, for the most part, I didn't have to follow any instructions. I know how to line a bodice and add tiers to it. And so, yeah, that was kind of a mindless sew, which is great. I had on the Queen Charlotte Bridgerton series. I hadn't watched that yet. So I was able to kind of watch a show while I was sewing that together. But this it was a quick sew, but I still had to pay attention to the instructions. You've got a center front seam here. So part of it gets cut out on the fold up here, but then you do have a center front seam so that you twist the shirt over. But yeah, I think this is going to be lovely to wear and is going to go just the distance in my wardrobe. And the color's fun. And it's going to be a bright pop of color as the weather starts to cool and things start to get more grayed and not as colorful outside. And this looks really good under my Jessica blazer, my bright Jessica blazer that I pulled out for this fall. So even though this color is not technically in my fall capsule, a lot of times I, will sneak an orange in where red goes. This will definitely be in my wardrobe for that. So very excited about this one. And it's a newer pattern. I just hadn't had a chance to make it up yet. So very excited I got to make that up. And like I said, the next one is already on the cutting table. So, okay, this is the cotton fleece that I got from Destashify that has kind of this metallic pattern on it. This pattern is the Itch to Stitch Nazir, maybe? Anyway, it's a zip-up hoodie pattern. And I was anxious to try this one. I was not able to be on the test for this one either, but I just wanted to try it out and compare it to my beloved Cashmerette Stanton. And I would say there's probably not big enough of a difference between them that you would need one over the other. Now, this one this only comes with a zipper option. You could very easily cut things out on the fold and not have a zipper, and you could probably turn it into a sweatshirt if you wanted to, which could be fun for color blocking because this does have some very interesting seam lines in the pockets. It's not your typical kangaroo pocket here in the front. So I think you could hack it to do exactly what the Stanton does. It just has some different design lines, and it was a lot of fun also to sew, just because I had to make sure that pattern pieces were going the way they were supposed to and all that kind of stuff. So it's a hoodie pattern. It finishes off beautifully. The finishes that she has you using on this are really gorgeous. So like I said, they've got this upper part. This does come with a full bust option, so it is similar to the Stanton in that way. And I've used the full bust on this one. It just got a really beautiful finish on these kangaroo pockets and they're not even really a kangaroo pocket, kind of, but the way she has you sew them down to tack down is just really lovely. And then she has you finishing off your zipper tape with twill tape. I used a ribbon that I had in my stash. I had some of this gold ribbon in my stash, and actually I used this to finish off the neck edge of my red Stanton zip-up hoodie, which is kind of funny. But I had some of this gold ribbon, and I thought it just went really well with the fabric. So the instructions show you how to not only finish off your zipper on the inside, so it has a really beautiful inside there with the zipper, but also the neck edge. So the neck edge where the hood attaches is also finished off with that same ribbon. It just gives a really nice finishing detail. Now, obviously, I've used a different fabric for my cuffing. This fabric has almost no stretch, which I don't recommend. If a pattern tells you it needs a certain amount of stretch, I do recommend that you heed that, because otherwise you could get, something really tight. There's a little bit of stretch in the cross grain on this, and so I cut it out on the cross grain because of that, but not much. It's mostly mechanical stretch. And I was just hoping that because this is a jacket, that it would have a little bit more ease in the body of it. And it does. It fits fine. I gambled and it paid off, and I think this is great. It's super soft on the inside. It worked, but I knew that it would never work for the cuffs because that does need to stretch, the cuffs and the bottom band. And I had this cotton jersey in my stash from, I think this was the leftover fabric from my Lennox, my Love Notions Lennox top that I made with the sweetheart neckline. I think this was some of that leftover, but if you are ever needing, you don't always have to use ribbing or cuffing when you're finishing off sweatshirts or jackets or that kind of thing. One of my favorite go-tos is cotton spandex. Ponte works real well, works well also, but I like a good cotton spandex. I usually have a lot of colors in my stash, so it makes it a little easier to match. I had a couple of different colors. I had my daughter help me pick which color went better, and we decided this darker one just because it kind of picks up the darker metallic flecks that are in here. So I'm glad that I went with this one. And then I had to pick just a color of zipper I had in my stash, and this is just the chocolate brown. I thought that went well together as well. And I used chocolate brown serger thread just to kind of tie all that together. I like the mustard and brown together. I think that that is a good combo. So that works really well. Now, my zipper came from Amazon. I bought like a whole bunch of them. And I can't even remember what the original reason was, but they were a whole bunch of different colors. I used the same zipper in red for my Stanton zip up hoodie, and the zippers aren't great. I had issues with the red one, like the pull flew off without over the stop. Like the stop was on. It was the zipper the way it was made to be, but I still pulled the zipper stop off, and I did it again when I was sewing this one. So I spent a large amount of time putting the zipper stop back on, and it doesn't glide easily over the teeth. So less than impressed with my zipper, but again, it was just something I found off Amazon. I do like the little pull, like the round pull here, and it'll work fine. My Stanton has been fine. It's washed fine. Will I be shocked if the zipper breaks one day? Probably not, but you know, it works. So for now, I think this is going to make a really great fall jacket for me. I walk a lot, as you guys know, so this will be a perfect like little throw on. I've got options. I can wear my red one, or I can now wear my mustard one. And this has a little zhuzh to it with that metallic that's in there. But yeah, I mean, this will probably get worn a ton just because it'll be an easy thing to throw on when we're going for our walks and that sort of thing. So love that, but it also looks good with jeans, as you can see. So it could definitely be a athleisure type piece in my wardrobe as well. So there you have it. Those are the two things that I made with my Destashify fabrics this month. Let me set things up again, and I will show you the fabrics I grabbed and my plans for those. Okay, before I show you my fabrics, I just wanted to say I made in both of those tops, I made the size 8 with the full bust front. So her knit tops, she does just regular bust and full bust fronts. I did the size 8 with the full bust fronts. If it's a woven, I do 8 with a D cup. But I did that on both of those, and I shortened the bodice on both of those by 1 inch, which is very typical for Love Note or for Itch and Stitch patterns for me. Now, if it were a dress, I would shorten it 1 inch at the length and shorten line at the bodice and 1 inch at the lengthen and shorten line at the skirt. But when it's just a top, I just need to lose 1 inch. I have a high waist and short torso, so yeah, raising that waistline up on me does wonders. But that's the only, oh no, I also shortened the sleeves by 1 inch. But that's the only thing that I did on those two. So shorten the bodice by 1 inch, shorten the sleeves by 1 inch, and so the size 8 with the full bust front. Okay, let's get into my fabrics for this month. So I grabbed technically 3. The last one though was a bundle, which is so genius, and you should definitely go take a look. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the seller off the top of my head. I'll put it down here. The seller's shop name, because she did have quite a few bundles of just like cotton fabrics that are just odds and ends, but she put them into a bundle and they work great for linings, and we'll talk about that when I get there. But I grabbed, other than that, 2 cotton shirtings, and they're both vintage. They're both really narrow, and they're both vintage prints. Okay, so the first one is a cotton shirting with a, gosh, it's going to look solid. but can you see it's a micro check, red, brown, and cream. It's going to totally come off as a solid though from far away. And I've actually already made what I'm going to be making with this. It's lovely. It's like I said, a vintage cotton shirting. It's sewed wonderfully. But my idea for this was to do a pattern test that I'm currently in the midst of. And you're actually the pattern that I did with this is really going to be released on Thursday. So I will have pictures on Instagram on Thursday, and I may put up a YouTube short on Thursday, but with the full video, with all the details and stuff going up. That'll be Friday's video. So you'll definitely want to check back for that. It is I can't wait to show you this pattern. It is such a fantastic pattern, and I had so much fun sewing it. It was just delightful. I can't tell you anymore, but be excited. Anyway, but the chocolate and red and cream are all in my fall capsule colors for this fall. And this will definitely be playing a part in my fall capsule wardrobe. So very excited about this. Sorry I have to be so cryptic. And I guess we'll go along with that. Hold on. We'll talk about this one in a second. So the other thing that I grabbed was a bundle of cotton lawns. And I think this is, I don't know that it's necessarily vintage, but it was a whole bunch of, I think, let's see, one, two, three, four, five. It was 5 total cuts of fabric, 4 of which were in this chocolate brown color, and then 1 of which was in more of this lighter camel-y tan color. I grabbed this because I knew that I love cotton lawn as a, ooh, got lipstick or hair in my lipstick. I love cotton lawn as a lining fabric for dresses, and I just knew that the chocolate brown, that's like my black. So I knew that would be a good color for me to grab, and that it would go with a lot of my darker colored dresses, especially as we get into the fall. And I knew that this color would be great for pocket linings on lighter colored stuff, or dress linings on lighter color fabrics, because it's a little bit closer to a nude to me color. And that works really great under lighter colors. So I used one of these. I only have 4 here right now, but I used one of these cuts for the lining of what I made with this. So stay tuned on Friday and you will see more of that. But I highly recommend checking out more of her bundles because they make great linings. Even if you have to piece the pieces together, which I didn't, I was able to get the full lining of what I needed out of one of the pieces. And they're different lengths, so I can tell, like, there's not very much in this one or this one, a little bit more in that one, and a little bit more in this one. But yeah, great little purchase there. And then finally, I grabbed this fabric. I've not done anything with this one yet. This is a white cotton with red flocked polka dots on it. They're teeny tiny. But it is, they're flocked on there. So they're kind of raised. If you don't know what flocking is, it's kind of like, almost like a little velvet dot. It made a mess in my washing machine and my dryer, but I wanted to make sure that it all could wash really well. And it did, and it's still fine. The flocking dots are on there. But when I grabbed this, I really want to make a blouse out of it. Now, if you've been following along, you know that I'm going to be, I have a ton of this too, but I am going to be making out of Mimi G's new book, Make It Yours, I think is what it's called. I'm taking her button-up shirt. If you're not familiar, I think she has like 6 or 7 patterns in there, and they're included in the book, but you have to trace them off because they're like layered on top of each other. But if you send them an email with proof of purchase, they'll send you the copy shop files, so the PDF files, so you can have them printed, which is what I did. And so I had the button-up shirt printed because I want to do, so it includes the patterns, and then after that, it's got hacks that you can do to that. And then she has this whole back of the book is this beautiful lookbook of like 110 or 100, it's a lot of outfits that she puts together just with these patterns, these 7 patterns, including the hacks that she did. So one of the hacks, and I'm using this for my fall wardrobe with a cotton voile or a rayon voile, is a it's the shirt, the button-up shirt pattern, but she does a drop shoulder on it, make it a shacket, but it's cropped, so it's more of like a blouse, like a shirt, but relaxed. So I'm very excited to try that out. So I had the shirt pattern from that book printed, and I'm going to do that one first. But I also want to do, I was doing some research for fall because I always do my ready to wear looks, which will be happening in September, and my 10 looks that you could recreate. And one of the things I was noticing that's big for fall in my research are peplums. And if you are straight through the waist and hips like I am, peplums are your best friend. So I'm very excited to see those back. So another hack that's with the shirt pattern, so once I get that base shirt pattern to fit me really well, I want to do the other hack, which is basically a higher waistline. It's an empire waist. I'll see if I can find a picture from the book to put up there. And basically a peplum. So it's like a ruffle on the bottom of the shirt, but the shirt, total shirt's a little bit cropped, kind of loose. And I want to do it with the longer sleeves. So I want to keep the original sleeves on there, but do that with the ruffle, the peplum on there. Just think it'd be so cute over wide leg jeans. And yeah, I can just see myself, or straight leg jeans. I can just see myself wearing that quite a bit this fall. And again, the cream and the red go really well into my fall wardrobe. So one has already been made up, and then this is the next one I want to do. So I'm going to be playing around with that new Mimi G pattern. So I thought might as well, if I get that fitting well, play around with some of those other hacks that she has available and really give that book a good try. It's a really beautiful book if you don't already own it. I've been very pleased with it so far. Haven't made anything yet, but from the pictures and the instruction, it just looks really good. I've leafed through it. So I'm excited to do some trial with it. So there we have it, guys. Those are my Destashify makes for August and my fabric haul also for August that I grabbed off Destashify. I will be back on Friday with that pattern release. Again, if you're curious what that is, it is being released at some point on Thursday. So I will have that on my Instagram feed, as well as I'm thinking about putting out a short. We'll see. Jenny's pushing me. She's like, you should do a short then on Thursday. I'm like, okay. So yes, but the full video will be up on Friday, and I'll talk you through that new pattern release. It's such a good one. I have so many ideas for it as well going forward. So that's exciting. And then Sunday is part 4 of the Spencer Woven Pants Sew Along, but it's also a standalone tutorial for how to line a pair of pants. So if it's a pant pattern that doesn't have a lining, I'm showing you how to do that. So that is on Sunday. And then next week we'll be doing my August makes, which will be the last of kind of the summer plans and makes video. But I'll show off my August, full August make lookbook next week. And then I'm participating in kind of a fun giving back challenge. So that will be next week as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I've got so many good things planned for September. And yeah, I want you to be a part of that. And September is National Sewing Month. So you should definitely hit that subscribe button and join me for all the fun and excitement of sewing. I mean, during the fall, but definitely during September. Okay, that's all I have for today, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. The weather has cooled off here a little bit. It's temporary, but I'm going to take it while we've got it. So I hope you're having great weather wherever you are, and that you're able to get some sewing in this week. I will see you guys again on Friday. Have a good one. Bye.